Arman Tsarukyan is rage baiting, clip farming, influencer maxing, and he must be stopped. If you know UFC ball, you know Arman Tsarukyan. Supreme athlete, knockout power, pulled out of a title fight because he injured his back trying to impress his wannabe influencer girlfriend, basic stuff, right? Married, by the way. Arman Tsarukyan comes from an insanely wealthy family of unknown origin, something to do with his father's construction company. They got that big money. So Arman is rich by proxy, but discovered very quickly that just flaunting your wealth and luxury doesn't resonate with the average person. Despite being one of the best fighters in the world, he had no fan base, and this bothered him. Arman Tsarukyan is playing life on creative mode. Perfect physique, money that people could only dream of attaining. But because of this, he was selfish and spoiled, his networking was trash, and he was one of the most unrelatable people on this fucking planet. It's like he thought if he just kept showing off his supercars and private jets, that alone would grow him a fan base. Beyond deluded. His fights are great. Early doors, he was kind of just a wrestler, not very dangerous, couldn't even knock out the great Matt Frivola, but over time, he's gotten much better and reached the top of the UFC. And he's the only UFC fighter I've ever seen to actually piss off the UFC with his antics. And now it's safe to say he's been put on ice. They passed up on Arman to give their cash cow Paddy Pimblett the interim title shot instead. Look how that went. Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler layup. Sorry about that. Anyways, now we're all just sort of waiting for Arman's return because he realistically is a great challenge for current champion Ilia Toptoro. However, things would drastically change for Arman in 2025 when he made a dark and powerful discovery: rage bait. And now, Tsarukyan is on a generational media run, drunk with power, and a whole lot of his daddy's money. This is why you are now seeing Arman everywhere with everyone. Nina Drama, Aiden Ross, Neon, content agencies who you literally pay money to make it seem like you have a personality. Manufactured, choreographed skits have basically taken over social media nowadays, and it's just pure trash. But here you are, on YouTube, watching me. You're a good apple. So in this video, we will be exploring the complete Arman Tsarukyan rage bait and temper tantrum timeline, and I will be ranking them for you. First up is actually his most recent no-no, which actually prompted me to make this video, when he body slammed MMA legend Uriah Faber into concrete during RAF wrestling just last weekend. Absolute fucking scumbag move. Arman does a lot of wild shit to boost promotions, I get it. We're gonna talk about that later, but you could have seriously injured Uriah Faber here, who's over 40 years old, dude, and has a family. Leave legends out of your attention-seeking rage bait bullshit. This was 100% intentional. And at this point, Arman has become genuinely addicted to making headlines for the wrong reasons, like just to boost his brand. He's so self-centered, doesn't care about other people. Fuck him for this. This is F tier. Trying to farm attention, putting Faber at risk like that, launching him over the commentators, and onto concrete. Go fuck yourself. Successful rage bait, I guess. Good for you, but you could have actually injured Faber. You thick-skulled, brain-dead Nepo baby. You can make a fool out of yourself and play skits with people who are in on it, but don't be playing with other people's health like that. Up next, also happened just last week, just before the Faber fight, when Arman and his team got kicked off a flight for not following safety regulations and had their phones out. Dog shit rage bait. You just ruined an entire flight for so many innocent people. It wasn't canceled, but Arman delayed the flight by roughly 45 minutes. Total prick, just to make headlines. Yeah, great prank, dude. Totally worth it. D-tier rage bait. Up next is a classic. Headbutting Dan Hooker at the weigh-in face-off for UFC Qatar. This is making the list, even though it's not, directly rage bait. It's more of a fundamental mental problem with Arman Tsarukyan. Rather than, a scripted piece, throwing Richie Rich temper tantrums, these are quite common for him. Dan Hooker's a prick, did his thing, talked some basic level trash talk, pretty much just told the truth to Arman right to his face, who just couldn't resist headbutting him and compromising another main event. This was actually a nasty fucking headbutt. We're lucky a cut wasn't opened up because of it. Guaranteed the UFC would have had to pull the fight, ruining the main event of UFC Qatar. Dana White and Hunter Campbell even confirmed this 100%, factored into why they didn't give him a future interim title shot and gave it to Pimblett instead. So at this point, Armen is legit willing to sabotage his own UFC career just to farm attention, or he just has a legit anger problem. Crazy. I'll put this C tier because Dan Hooker did technically instigate this with trash talk, but that's common in MMA these days. Armen got thin posh boy skin and just had a classic hissy fit here. Up next was punching a fan at UFC 300. Not as bad as the others, right? This was actually a little bit forgiving because fans should not be trying to grope fighters as they walk out, or even instigate them, like Matt Brown did it first, little bro, okay, pipe down. But Armen was never actually touched, so this was actually a serious problem where the UFC had to punish Armen to discourage legal action, I guess. During his UFC 300 walkout, he literally just spotted this dude and sucker punched him. Look, MMA fans are total animals sometimes, but Armen did not need to go this route. I do think he has a legitimate anger problem. B tier though, gained Armen some aura points, made his walkout seem cooler. This was before he went full influencer. This was when Armen wasn't getting the positive attention he so desperately craved, hence why he was a little on edge, and so quick to lose his cool like that, so B tier temper tantrum, in my opinion. Up next is his post-fight brawl with Giorgio Pulis. This is sort of warranted because Pulis is a juicehead influencer with just zero respect for martial arts, let's keep it real. He's literally a part of a content agency as well, so he was slapping Armen in the bout, trying to antagonize him the whole time, which resulted in Armen striking him repeatedly at the end of the match and prompting a massive brawl. And look, I mean, it's great promotion for the RAF at the end of the day. Brings in more viewers, but still, a total lack of restraint shown by Nepo baby Armen once again. This goes surprisingly A tier because Pulis had it coming, and this was good for the RAF's growth as a company. And last but not least, we need to talk about Armen and Nina drama as an S-tier rage bait. Nina is from Playboy. Okay, she's an expert at rage baiting people with her insanely flirtatious and, morally dubious interviewing style, if I might add. Armen's all on board with it. Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira, they play along, so look, Nina drama is a whole separate issue. Comment down below if you guys want a Nina video, but this has to go S-tier rage bait. It's hard to watch, it's inherently cringe to know it's all for farming engagement and her hubby is the one filming it all, but it's their hustle, man. Sickening behavior. But you know what? Everybody's got their hustle. That concludes the Arman Tsarukyan temper tantrum and rage bait timeline. From headbutts to cover-ups. He is still on ice with the UFC. Will he ever return? Is he the one to defeat Ilia Toptoro? It's about time I made a proper video on Arman Tsarukyan's generational media run, his side quests, because, look, I enjoy Armen in the cage, and it basically ends there. I'm a fighting nerd. I couldn't care less about his little controversies and stunt pulls. I want to see him fighting the best in the world, but you know what? It's time we start to document some of this shit. So here's the Armen rant. Hope you're happy with it. Comment down below if you agree or disagree, and what will Armen do next? Is he ever coming back to the UFC, or do I have to sit through another year of just this pointless influencer slop? Like, I've had it, man. I care about combat. I think Armen's going down a dark path. He's staying in shape, doing all the wrestling. That's good, but wrestling ain't MMA, little bro. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. Hopefully Arman Tsarukyan isn't sabotaging his career too much by doing this, but leave your opinions down below. Hope you enjoyed the rant. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.